we have seen that how the depreciation methods are applicable, how we can apply the uh, methods for calculation of depreciation. So in continuation of that, let us see some other methods of also. So in that, the next method is the declining balance method of depreciation. So in this method of depreciation, there is a constant percentage of a book value of previous period of the asset will be charged as a depreciating amount for the current period. And this approach is more a realistic approach since the depreciation charge decreases with the life of the asset, which matches with the earning potential of the asset. And the book value of at the end of the life of the asset may not be potential of the asset. The book value at the end of the life of the asset may not be exactly equal to the salvage value of the asset. And the basic concept behind this, that let if P is the first cost of the asset, F is the salvage value, and is the life of the asset, P B1 or BT is basically the book value of asset at the end of the period, T and K as a fixed percentage, and DT is the depreciation amount. So DT will be K into BT minus 1, means previous year value book value, means constant will be multiplied by the previous year book value, and the BT will be the previous year book value minus depreciation DT. So this way the BT will be 1 minus K into BT minus 1. So this formula will apply. So we will see both of the things with the help of an example. So by that the formula dt will be the k 1 minus k to the power t minus 1 into pp is the initial amount. Same type of a thing apply in the double declining balance method. Just the difference is that the rate of the depreciation is taken as a 2 by n. So this method is referred to the double declining balance method, and it may be noted that the rate of the depreciation in this case is twice that of the straight line method, with the additional condition that the salvage value is taken as a zero. However, in the case of a given finite salvage value, the value becomes lower bound of the book value. Now let us see this with the help of an example. So here they are saying, considering the example number 14. So, okay, in the previous example, there was that a company has to purchase an equipment whose initial cost is 1 lakh rupees. So P is 1 lakh rupees, and the estimated salvage value is 20,000. Number of period is 8 year, and the constant is 0.2%, 0.2 basically coefficient. So the calculating the pertaining to dt and bt of different values. So the formula which we have seen in the previous article, so that is dt is equal to k into bt minus 1, and bt is equal to bt minus 1 minus dt. So with the help of this we can we can create a table. So at the initial year the book value is 1 lakh rupees. At the end of the first year, the dt value, dt is obtained by the k into bt minus 1. K is your 0.2 and bt is 1 lakh rupees. So that will be 20,000. So that will be depreciated from the book value. So this way it is calculated up to the 8th year. So at the 8th year, the book value of that product goes lower than the estimated salvage value. Also, For the calculation of depreciation, there is another method which is also very popular, that is known as the sum of the years digit method. So this is one of the commonly used method of calculating the depreciation, and it leads to the higher rate of the depreciation initially, which reduce the progressively. And such a strategy is useful to obtain the greater tax benefit in an earlier year of the economic life of the asset. And in this method of depreciation, also it is assumed that the book value of the asset decreased at the decreasing rate. And if the asset has a life of 8 years, first the sum of the year is computed. So, so basically, a series of the number is added there. So the formula which is used, that is n into n plus 1 by 2. So that is 1 to 8 years. So that becomes to 36. Now, after that, this is the sum of the years digit. Now, rate of the depreciation charged for the first year is assumed to the highest, and then it decreases, because you know that in all the products, the depreciation in the value of the asset is the highest. You can consider the example of the car or your mobile phone or any of the thing. Like if you purchase any car at the price of 4 lakh rupees, so at the end of the first year, it cost reduced more than a lakh rupees. Then afterward, it is depreciating slowly. Okay. So for any year, the depreciation is calculated by multiplying the corresponding rate of depreciation. So in that case, the rate of depreciation will be calculated by 8 by 36, 7 by 36, 6 by 36. So that particular year number divided by the sum of the years digit. So that will be calculated. So in that case, the DT will be the rate into P minus F, means initial cost minus the salvage value. Okay. So by this, the book value at the end of the point T is equal to BT is equal to P minus F, N minus T upon N, and N minus T plus 1 upon N plus 1 divided by N plus 1 plus F. The formula is very complex, but the calculation is very easy in such type of the problem when you have to use the sum of the year digits method. So we have to consider the same example where the 1 lakh rupees is the initial value, F is the salvage value, N is the number of the year. So summation is basically sum of the year, 8 number of years are there. So that is n plus 1 by 2, that is 8 into 9 by 2, that is 36. And the rate of the year, rate for the year from 1 to year respectively, 8 by 36, 7 by 36, 6 by 36. This way the rates are fixed for the each and every year. For calculating the depreciation, dt is equal to rate into p minus f. So for that, we will simply draw the this table. There the number of the year will be written like that, and depreciation dt is there and book value bt is there. Dt is basically the rate into p minus f. So 1 lakh minus salvage value, that is the 20,000. Yes, that is the 20,000. So 80,000 multiplied by the 8 into multiplied by 8 divided by 36. So that becomes the 17,777.77. That will be deducted from the 1 lakh rupees. So that becomes this book value. So initially, the depreciation in the book value is near about the 18,000, near about 17,700. Then after that, the depreciating rate is decreasing with slowly. So it is 17, then 15, then 13, then 11, then 8, then 6, then 4, then 2. In general life, we see that the most of the products when we purchase from the market, so its depreciation is depreciation is matched with this such type of the rate. So this is the way by which we can apply the sum of the year digits method for the depreciation. So this is the formula, and this is an easiest way to do this job. Then after that, another method, that is the sinking fund method of the depreciation. So the basic idea of this method is to have enough fund to be able to replace the asset at the end of its service life. And to achieve this, a fixed sum is set aside from revenue each year and taken to invested with imputed interest throughout the life of the asset. And in this way, after successive installments, the sum accumulates to produce the original purchase price of the asset. So this method works in terms of a sinking fund factor, which is determined on the basis of initial and salvage value of asset, the servicing life, and the rate of interest, the factor from which determined using the simple interest formula, and also a special table developed for this purpose. This sinking fund type of a question is also asked in some of the examinations. In the previous year SSC examination, it was asked that what is the sinking fund, how it is calculated, and how it is related to the evaluation of equipment value. So let us consider P is the initial cost, F is the salvage value, N is the number of the year, and I is the rate of return compounded, that is compounded annually. A is the annual equivalent amount. BT is the book value of asset at the end of the period T, and DT is the depreciation amount at the end of the period T. So in this method, the depreciation, in this method of depreciation, the book value decreases as the increasing rate with respect to the life of the asset, and the loss in the value of the asset, that is P minus F, is made available in form of a cumulative depreciation amount at the end of the life of the asset by setting up an equal depreciation amount A at the end of the each period during the lifetime of the asset. So that can be calculated using the formula A is equal to P minus F, that is the value of that equipment after deducting the salvage value multiplied by factor, that is A by F I into N. The fixed sum depreciation at the end of the every time period earn an interest rate at the rate of I compounded annually. So hence the actual depreciation amount will be in the increasing manner with respect to the time period. And for that, a generalized formula for the depreciation at a particular year that can be calculated by dt is equal to P minus F into a factor multiplied by the F by P I T minus 1. So this is a complex formula. We can understand this concept with the help of an example, so that becomes very easy. Now consider the same example as we taken in the previous methodology. So here the same, the initial value is the 1 lakh rupees, F is the salvage value, N is the number of year, and I is the percentage 12%, that is here. So now, so for that the A will be calculated, that is the F minus P minus F into A upon F, 12% rate for 8 years. So the factor will be 0.0813, and that will be multiplied by the 8,000. So that becomes 6,504. So in this method, a fixed amount of 6,504 will be depreciated at the end of every year from earning of the asset, and the depreciated amount will earn interest from the remaining period of a life of the asset at an interest rate of a 12% compounded annually. So depreciation at the end of the year, so that is 6,504 rupees. At the end of the second year, 6,504 plus 6,504, and there is a 12% interest, so that will be also added there. So that will be 6,284. If this will be a straight line method, so we don't have to multiply by this factor, but this is an sinking fund method of depreciation, so we have to multiply by the percentage there. So that is there. So depreciation for the third year, 600,504. This is the annual amount depreciated plus the previous amount which is depreciated. So we have to collect that amount, and with the interest is also applied there. So 6,504 plus 7,284, the amount which is set up for previous year, and the 12% interest rate. Similarly for the year 4, and similarly for the all the years. So here at the end of the year T, that is the 0 to 8, and fixed depreciation that we have calculated with the formula, that is 6,504 rupees. Net depreciation, so depreciation basically the summation, cumulative summation of depreciation, including the interest formula. So that is 6,504 plus 6,504 plus 6,504 multiplied by the 0.12. That is the interest thing. So the net depreciation is increasing with the time. 6,504, 7,284, 8,158, and this way. Generally, this type of the depreciation is found in case of the building. Whenever the building becomes that it passes the time, the depreciation of the building is increases. Depreciation value is increases. So the at the end of the book value, 8th year, so the book value becomes the 20,002.80. Again, see the another example. Same. So here we have to consider the example 4 and compute the D5 and B7. Okay, D5 this one and B7 this one. Okay, so interest rate is 12%. So for that, the formula dt is equal to the formula which I have seen, this dt and bt. So d5, so the t will be replaced by the 5 and b is t. Here t will be replaced by the 7. So dt will be p minus f a of I comma n and factor f upon p I t minus 1. So that is the 1 lakh minus 20,000 into 12% interest rate and on and for 8 year and 12% rate for t minus 1, that is the 5. So 5 minus 1 is 4. So that will be calculated 10,237.30. That is the D5. And similar way, the D7 will be calculated using the formula. Now, another method of depreciation is the service output method of the depreciation. So in some situation, it may not be realistic to compute the depreciation based on the time period. And in such cases, the depreciation is computed based on the service rendered by an asset. So here, the P is the first cost of the asset and the salvage value X is the maximum capacity of the service of asset during its lifetime, and X is the quantity of the service rendered in a particular period. Then the depreciation is defined per unit service rendered. So that is the P initial value minus salvage value divided by the X, the maximum capacity of service, and multiply, and the depreciation for X unit of a service in a period, that is P minus F upon capital X multiplied by the small x. So let us see with the help of an example. So in this example, the first quote of a road laying machine is 80 lakh rupees. Its salvage value after 5 years is 50,000. The length of the road that can be laid by the machine during the lifetime is 75,000 kilometers. In its first year of operation, the length of the road laid is 2,000 kilometers. Find the depreciation of equipment for that year. So initial cost is 80,000, salvage value is 50,000, X the service provided, that is 75,000 kilometers, and in the third year of operation, the length that is laid by that machine, that is 2,000 kilometers. So depreciation of X unit of service in a period, so that will be P minus F. So P minus F divided by the total lifetime of the machine, that is 75,000, multiplied by the small x, that is the third year, means the service rendered in the third year. So that the depreciation in the 3 year will be 2,12,000 out of 80,000 rupees. So this is the way of using this service output method of depreciation methodology. So this is all the formulas which are used for the calculation of depreciation. Now let us move to the another most important topic that is very important, and this is very practical in most of the cases when you become a site engineer, or you go in any management company or any company which is selling some product. So this is a very important thing. So that is this is known as a break even cost analysis. So in this, the main of this means we know that every company or every enterprises have the main motive to gain the maximum profit, and this can be achieved by using the various ways, like if we maximize the sale, we get the profit. If we minimize the cost, we get the profit. If we control all the wastages, we can get the profit. If we can increase the efficiency, so we can get the profit. So there are various ways of increasing the get the maximum profit. So there are also a lot of practical problems in determining or forecasting the profit, and these problems are related to the valuation of the stock and determination of the amount of the depreciation, writing off an intangible assets and getting knowledge of solveni position of a debitor, and also controlling the cost of the production and determining the selling price. Break-even analysis is the method of forecasting the profit, and the total revenue and the total costs are estimated at a different level of the activity. Difference between the total revenue and the total cost of the profit at a particular level of the activity. So thus, with the help of this approach, the profit and loss can be calculated at different level of the activity, and in this break-even analysis, the total cost and revenue of an enterprise are analyzed. This analysis explains the level of the activity at which the total cost and total revenue of the enterprises will be equal, and thus it may be concluded that the break-even analysis determines the level of the activity on which we can get the profit. We can start getting the profit. So basically, break-even cost analysis is a methodology, or we can do it as an analysis by which we can able to know that how much number of the more product we have to produce, so that we can getting start the profit. Generally, in a business, initially when we produce less number of the product, so so we are getting the loss. There is a certain fixed amount of the product. If that number of the product is produced in a day, so we will neither get the profit, neither get the loss. And also there is a fixed number of the product, which is if we produce more than the product of that one, so we can get the profit. So getting all this thing in a graphical form is known under the break-even chart. Okay, so let us see what is the break-even point. So break-even point is the point of the production at which the total cost and the total revenues are equal. In other words, at the break-even point, the profit is zero, and if the enterprise operates is at this point, there will be no profit, no loss, and for this reason, the point is known as the break-even point, or no profit, no loss point also. So we can see this break-even chart and this graph. So this break-even chart, it is a graphical representation of the relationship between the cost and the revenue of the possible volume of the output. The chart contains the direct cost line and the indirect cost line, and besides the total cost line, it is also the revenue line. That the point of the intersection is of the total cost and revenue line is known as the break-even point. So here in this graph, you can see the y-axis represents the cost and x-axis represents the total output output quantity, and the total cost, the revenue, the variable cost, and fixed cost is represented on this curve. So here we can see if the number of the product is zero, we have the total cost is higher because we have to initially set up an equipment, and we have to also pay for the operating cost there. We suddenly with the time we can increase the number of the product. So as we increase the number of the product, the variable cost is increasing, because as the more product you produce, the more raw material and other things activities are happening in your company. So the total cost is also increasing with that, and variable cost is fixed cost is also there. Fixed cost is fixed. Basically, you have to appoint the number of the labor or supervisor there. So fixed cost is fixed, stable there. Variable cost is increasing with the number of the production. So the total cost is the summation of this variable and fixed cost, and this will be like this one. Now the revenue. If you produce zero product, no product you will sell, and no profit is there. If you product the two number of products, so the sum of the revenue is generated, but that will be less than the cost. So that will be increasing as the number of the product you produce, the more the selling is there, and the revenue is like that. So there is a point that is known as the break-even point, where at that point the total cost and total revenue that cross each other. So that is the break-even point. That means if you produce the B number of the product quantity, so you will not get the profit, you will not get the loss. The total amount you invest, the total amount you will get. Okay. After that point, the more number of the product you will produce, that will the consider under the profit. So this portion becomes the profit, and bottom portion, the dashed or darker portion, is considered as the loss. So generally, what company tries to do? The company tries to lower the break-even point by restoring the different means, such as the increasing the sales price, reducing the total cost of the production, or increasing the quantity of the product. So quantity, with the help of this graph, we can see that we can, if we increase the quantity of the product, the break even point comes the early. Jitna jaldi, jitna zyada product produce karenge, we can get the more profit. Also reducing the total cost. If our total cost is less, so this total cost, if this it starts from this point, so big break even point यहाँ पे आ जाएगा. Then increasing the quantity of the product. So, or if we increase the sales, if we increase the selling price, so this okay, if we increase the selling price, so basically selling price is related with the revenue. So if we increase the selling price, so this will cut at this point. So that means कम प्रोडक्ट बेचने पे भी आपको प्रॉफिट होगा, so आपको ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट यहाँ पे आ जाएगा. So this is there. This is the way the company tries to do. Now let us see that how this break-even analysis is used for the engineering decision making. So basically, in engineering economic analysis, when two or more alternatives are a function of the same variable, there will be a value of variables for which the total cost of alternative may be the same, and the value of such variable is called as the break-even point. So break-even point analysis is the one of the important tool for comparing the various alternative and taking the appropriate decision in best alternative. So basically, in construction, in engineering decision, if on the construction side, so if you do the work fast, if you deliver the more number of product, more number of work in less time, so the break-even point comes early, because in the construction project, the time is money. The more time you will there, the fixed cost will be applied for that time of the duration. Okay, consider this on this graph. If there is a construction activity, so if you complete the construction activity as early as possible, so आपका variable cost जो है वो उतना ही कम लगेगा, और total cost is also, so variable cost may be because that is associated with the material, so you cannot reduce the material, but fixed cost will be reduced there, because that will apply for that particular time period. So this way it can be applicable. Also, in the real life situation, we may not observe the linearity, and to model such situation, we have non-linear break-even analysis. In nonlinear analysis, the decrease in the production level based on the information on the cost, revenue, and the associated production level. We can fix it to fit in a curve, and these curves are then to be used to compute the marginal cost and the marginal revenue. Now let us understand what is the marginal cost and the marginal revenue. So basically, the marginal cost is basically the cost of additional cost incurred by the company to produce one extra unit of the product. What is the marginal cost? Marginal cost is the additional cost incurred by a company to produce one extra unit of a product. And similarly, the marginal revenue is the additional money released by selling one extra unit of a product. So that is the marginal revenue. Now, there are objectives and functions of the break-even cost chart or break-even cost analysis. So there are various objectives of this break-even chart. Like it is important tool for business management and gives a clear view of a position of a business. Sorry. So break-even point of the chart makes clearly no profit, no loss situation, and it is useful for understanding the effect of the variation of the fixed cost, variable cost, and the revenue on the profitability of the business. So it is used to portray the effects of the proposed change in the operational policy. The angle of incident and the margin of safety indicates the business position. It indicates likely profit and loss at the various output level, and it is the decision-making tool in hands of the management. There are certain limitations of this chart that when the market condition may not remain constant over a range of the projected capacity, it becomes difficult to classify the cost as fixed or the variable. In such case, break-even point may not portray the true picture. There may be so this can you can understand if company produce the n number of the products and those projects are not selling, okay, or there is a less demand. So at every situation, the company will get the loss. The break-even chart is a tool for a short-run analysis. The total cost line need not be a straight line. In actual practice, the cost do not vary in direct proportion. There may be means in actual business there is not a straight line for the total cost. It may be vary with time to time because at certain time the labor is cheap, at certain time the material is cheap, at certain time the material is costly, at certain time labor is costly. So that thing creates the variation in the total cost. Also, the revenue line may also not be a straight line because uh, as per the demand of the product, as per the market situation, the value of the product changes, or we can say selling price of the product changes. Also, this break-even point represents the static picture where the business operations are very much dynamic. You can easily understand that in a business, uh, the initial cost, the raw material cost, and the various policies of the government are changing. So due to that, there is a very dynamic type of situation in the business, and the break-even chart only represents an static picture. Also, the analysis of the break-even chart represents the additional difficulty when a company produces a variety of the product. So when there is a multiple variety of the product, so break-even chart it is very difficult to prepare a break-even chart for all type of the product and represent all the things in a single chart. So at that time, the getting the profitability and analysis of the profitability becomes the difficult. Now let us see that how the calculation of break-even point is there. So here some of the abbreviations are there like MC represents the marginal cost, and C is the contribution, S is the total fixed value, V is the total variable cost, VC is the variable cost per unit, S is the total sales, SP is the selling price, PT is the total profit, MP is the marginal profit, and MS is the margin of the safety. Now let us see the marginal cost. So marginal cost is the cost of producing an additional unit, and it is measured by studying the change in the total cost of the production, and as a result of the increase or decrease of one unit in the quantity of the product of enterprises. Mathematically, this can be represented like MC is equal to total cost of X plus 1 minus total cost of X. So marginal cost is basically the cost of one product. Contribution is the difference between the selling price and variable cost of the product. So selling price minus variable cost, that is the contribution. Fixed cost is the part of the total cost which does not change a change in the level of the production. It includes the rental of the building, insurance premium, depreciation, salaries of the permanent staff, interest on the loan. It is important to note in this regard that per unit fixed cost goes on reducing with an increase in the production. Also, there is a variable cost. So variable cost is the part of the total cost which changes with the change in the quantity of the production. If the quantity of the production increases, the variable cost is also increases. That that if you increase the quantity, you need the more raw material, so the variable cost is also increases. The variable cost includes the cost of the raw material, cost of the labor, and other direct expenses. It is important to note in this regard, per unit variable cost remains constant. There is a marginal profit. So I already told you the marginal profit is basically the profit of one additional that can be received by the selling one additional product. In other words, the contribution is the marginal profit. So margin of the safety, margin of the safety is the difference between the total sales and the sales of the break-even point. So it may be calculated either in terms of the unit of the rupees. Mathematically, it can be represented like the sales minus break-even point rupees. Now, calculation of the break-even point in unit. So break-even point can be calculated in terms of the unit only when the selling price per unit and the variable cost per unit are given or can be calculated. The formula is used, that is break-even point is equal to F, basically total fixed cost divided by the selling price minus variable cost. And SP minus VC is basically the contribution. So F is the total fixed cost divided by the contribution. So by this way, the break-even point can be calculated in units. Now let us see an example by which we can able to know that how it can be done. So here in this example, the fixed cost is given, that is 30,000. The sale is 82,500. The variable cost is 3,000, and units sold are 16,500. So the selling price is 82,000 divided by 500 divided by 16,500, and variable cost is 33,000 divided by the 16,500. So that is 2. So break-even point is fixed cost divided by the contribution. So contribution is 5 minus 2, that is 3. So that becomes the 10,000 units. Means if the company produces the 10,000 units, then we can neither got the profit, neither get the loss. Now, if we have to calculate the break-even point in the values, so the break-even point can be calculated in values. It can be calculated in both the conditions when total fixed cost, total sales, total variable costs are given, or when total fixed cost, total selling price unit, and variable cost per unit are also given there. So formula in both the conditions are break-even point is F into S divided by S minus V. So F is basically the total fixed value, S is the total sales divided by the contribution, and F total fixed cost into selling price divided by the contribution. So when the total fixed cost, selling price, and variable cost per unit are given, let us see this thing with the help of an example. So, okay. So here, in the as per the previous example, the fixed cost is there. The selling S price is there. Okay. Total sales is there, and S minus variable cost is there. That is basically a C. So that is 50,000. So that means the break even point value is the 50,000. Means that is the value of the revenue, because at the break even point the revenue is multiplied by the number of the products. So means either we get this much revenue or we get the this much number of the unit. Okay, so this is the thing. So this is all for this lecture. We will again assemble